Okay, Mr. Manuel Delgado.
Good people.
Yeah,
People.
he's such a great guy. He's so inspirational, not just his life. I mean, obviously his life story and all his challenges and all that, but just he's just as a businessman and the things he likes supporting and contributing to and all that is just a great community member.
Great community. I really liked about the story about how was it this a woman senator?
Right,
Or,
yeah.
or was it no? Yeah, or the governor? I'm not too sure. That he took his daughters out of school and took them to the inauguration.
Exactly.
Like that is super super important. And that actually brought me back to when a couple of months ago when we had those interviews. Do you remember?
Which ones?
That those guys were recording M&G Play, and then they interviewed me. And
Oh,
a couple of people.
yeah. The interviews for the Texas State, for the HSI 10th anniversary thing.
Yes, and it was talking about representation.
Right.
That is super important. But other than representation, we can have it, but we have to have that support at home.
Yeah.
And that's something that he's definitely bringing to his daughters and showing, hey, like, this is so important that I'm going to take you out of school to show you.
Yeah, no, I agree that.
So, yeah.
I agree. And it was fun hearing the story of how he moved from California to Nashville. He was, his wife was a singer and songwriter. And you're going to be a singer-songwriter, Nashville's a place to go.
Yeah.
A lot of music capital of the world, they say.
Nashville.
Yeah. Have you ever been to Nashville?
I haven't, but before I got married, I really, really wanted to go to Nashville for my bachelorette party.
Oh, okay.
That is the place.
Is there that's the place for bachelorette parties?
Yes, that's actually a really popular spot for bachelorettes.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
It's kind of known for that.
Really?
Yeah, you just have to wear like the rhinestone boots and then the rhinestone hat.
Really?
Yeah, and then you just have fun.
That's all news to me. I had no idea. I've actually been in Nashville a couple of times. Back when I was teaching the drumline at Texas State University, there's this international percussion art society convention that goes on, and it happened twice in Nashville while I was teaching the drumline. And part of that convention, there's a drumline competition, and so drumlines prepare shows and they go and compete. And so I took the Texas State drumline twice to that, and we did okay. It was fun. The students loved it. But one thing I do remember, we all went to this restaurant called Planet Hollywood, which is kind of like a Hard Rock Cafe version, but it's more like Hollywood. Planet Hollywood. I mean, Hard Rock Cafe, but it's about Hollywood, yeah. So it was called Planet Hollywood. And you walk in, it's themed, and they had like, souvenirs of different movies. And I do remember this clearly, walking in, and what they had there is they had the Catwoman suit that Michelle Pfeiffer wore in Batman 2. Back when Michael Keaton was still Batman in the 90s. And the thing that stuck in my head more than anything about that Catwoman suit, the waist on that suit, it was like a small boy's neck. It was so, I was looking at it, I was like, there's no way an adult woman could fit into that. Absolutely no way. Oh. It was mind-blowing.
Well, like I said, you have to talk to Kim Kardashian about that. So, if those of you that don't know, Kim Kardashian came out with this line called Skims, which is basically fajas. Okay, if you're Latina, you know all about the fajas.
Well, even if you're Latino, right, boys?
I like how you're like, no. So it's fajas, but it's called Skims because it's basically like skin. And I remember ordering mine and I got the package, right? And I was just like, oh, I'm excited because it's a Kim Kardashian faja. Am I going to look like Kim Kardashian? Close enough, but not exactly. And when I got it, it looked like a baby's onesie.
Okay.
And I was just like, how am I, a full body person, how the heck am I supposed to fit into this onesie? It was literally this short.
Wow.
Yeah. And it fits. It fits. So the concept of it is because if it's spandex or if it's like very like stretchy, it's
space age material.
Yeah, Skims is the people that sends people to NASA or to the it's just so stretchy. It's just so stretchy. And so because it's so small, when it stretches, it's just more compact.
Yeah.
But surprisingly,
So it still works as a girdle.
it works
Still
like
brings everything in.
but it's not like the bodices like from Bridgerton or from like back in the day where it's like the corsets or like Titanic where you go.
Yeah, you have to pull the strings like shoelaces. Yeah.
No, not like that.
Yeah.
That's uncomfortable. So,
yeah. You can't even breathe in those.
No, you can't even breathe in those. But
the
being a woman is hard.
Yeah. I can only imagine. No, I'm with you. I think about that all the time. How much easier it is being male in a lot of those respects. So when you say that, then I may have been thinking about it wrong, because maybe this Catwoman suit that I was looking at, maybe it just looked really small because it was in its resting position. Mm-hmm. Maybe once she put it on, maybe that stretched out. Mm-hmm. It looked leather to me. That's why I didn't think it stretched out.
Yeah, so sometimes that's like a spandex.
Okay, so it was spandex, not leather, probably.
But if it's like that, like spandex, that's like a latex. That's more like a latex, and that's hard.
Okay.
I have heard that for like latex, you have to put like baby powder.
Okay.
Or otherwise, and you're kind of like stuck.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, I mean, that makes me feel a little, if that's true, that makes me feel a little bit better, because I was thinking how much they tortured this poor woman's intestines to have her wear that. And I was just like,
it's still tight. It's still tight.
I can imagine.
And a Catwoman,
skin tight.
Props to you for that body.
Yeah. The many Catwomen that have played Catwomen. There's been like 6 or 7 women that played Catwomen.
Oh, which one's the latest? Anne Hathaway?
Anne Hathaway played it in the latest one, the ones that came out, with
Anne Hathaway.
Huh?
I like Anne Hathaway.
Yeah, I know. I thought Anne Hathaway did a great job. She was awesome in the Catwoman. In the Dark Knight Rises, that's what she was in the. And she was a great Catwoman.
You know what's crazy? And I don't know, this is kind of like a little side off topic, but the concept of like, for me, obviously I'm from a different age group than you are, right?
Yes.
But like for me, that I see like a Betty White, I just remember Betty White in her later stages.
Yeah.
Or like a Meryl Streep. Yeah.
But what's cool, you look those people up on YouTube in their young days. Uh-huh. And you'll see a different person as they go through life.
That's what I'm saying. Like Meryl Streep, how young did you know her?
Well, I mean, I started watching Meryl Streep movies a long time ago, when she was in like Silkwood. Mm-hmm. That was a great movie about some nuclear disaster. Sophie's Choice was another great movie. Mm-hmm. I mean, she was, so I've been seeing Meryl Streep forever.
But then like Anne Hathaway, I remember her from Princess Diaries, and she was so young.
Yeah.
And now I'm starting to see like Anne Hathaway is not that young.
Not anymore.
I'm not saying that she's old.
No,
don't get me wrong. But she's not that young. And so now the Anne Hathaway or actors of that age are going to be like the new Meryl Streep. And eventually they'll be older and stuff like that.
What's funny, wasn't Meryl Streep and Anne Hathaway in a movie? Weren't they both in that?
The Devil Wears Prada.
Devil Wears Prada.
I love The Devil Wears Prada. Yeah.
One of my favorite movies.
Really?
Yes.
Oh,
I didn't say that a lot, did I?
Oh, you know who I really like talking about that? And I've always told Jacob, I'm like, you have to make sure that when we become viejitos, you have to look like Robert De Niro.
Oh, yeah, Robert.
That is
in which movie?
Don't matter. He's such a handsome man. Even like at his older age.
Yeah.
I really want my husband to look like Robert De Niro.
Yeah, no, Robert De Niro's he's a great guy, great looking guy, and he's aged well, you know, through the times. That's another actor I've been watching forever. And Robert De Niro.
The reason why I said that, he's in a movie with Anne Hathaway called The Intern.
The Intern's a great movie.
I love The Intern.
That's a great movie. I loved it.
It's a good one.
Yeah. That was funny. Mm-hmm. And it was very respectful.
Yeah.
It didn't make the old person come across like an idiot that can't handle the new stuff anymore. Mm-hmm. It respected the new generation and the older generation and how they can find common ground. And I like that, because a lot of times movies either will play the new generation like a bunch of bumbling idiots that can't do it like the people before them, or to play the old people like they're a bunch of old fossils that can't handle the new way of doing things, and it just pays no respect to each other.
Yes.
And so I like that movie because it was respectful to both sides.
Mm-hmm. I like that movie, but yeah. Robert De Niro.
So the thing I was going to ask you earlier, because we were talking about Nashville, and one thing I always like asking people is what places across the country, because I went to Nashville at one time, and you said you hadn't, but other places in the U.S. that you've been to or you want to go to?
I've been to New York. I've been to lots of places in California. I recently went to California last year, but also last year I did go to Seattle. And I will have to say that Seattle is literally my favorite city in the United States. I love Seattle. California has a lot to offer. New York has a lot to offer. And I'm pretty sure other cities are good. But Seattle is literally my favorite place on earth.
Really? I've always wanted to go to Seattle. I've never been to New York either. I've always wanted to go to New York. My brief stays in LA and San Francisco weren't enough for me to say I've been there. They were too brief. But I've always wanted to go to Seattle. What about Seattle do you like so much?
Well, Seattle, okay, I know that some people may not agree. I love the rainy weather. I love the cold. I hate Texas heat. I hate it with a passion. It's something that annoys me a lot. And so the weather for me, it's perfect.
It doesn't get too cold? Or have you been there when it's cold?
It was cold. I got on a ferry. And it was freezing. I went there during our spring break. So our spring break is in March. So basically it celebrates also my birthday. And we went for there, but it was still winter for them.
Right.
So we couldn't even go up to we couldn't go up to Mount Rainier because it was so much snow. So we couldn't go up there. But I like the food. I love the Pike Park, the Pike Park place. What is that called place? The market?
The market,
the Pike Market.
I'm not familiar with that.
I love that. Jacob and I, we were able to have, we had breakfast at Lowe's. Which is actually, I want to say it's next door. No, it was at the restaurant. I'm not too sure if it's that one or the one next door where Tom Hanks sat for Sleepless in Seattle.
Sleepless in Seattle, yeah.
I like that movie a lot.
Oh, yeah.
That's a really good movie. So that's where he sat for Sleepless in Seattle. I'm a big person that loves to go to like farmers markets and have like fresh fruit and like fresh vegetables. I like doing that. Lots of walking. They have the best mac and cheese ever.
Really?
From Beecher's Cheese. And like you get to see it. We had a pierogi. But if this is the truth hour, I'll tell you why I really like Seattle and why we went. It was on my bucket list because since 2008, there was a YouTuber. Okay. There was a YouTuber, and I won't say her name because I'm pretty sure if she finds that, she's going to find me and she's going to sue me because what I'm about to say is pretty bad.
Okay.
So I followed her since 2008, and I loved her videos. She changed the genre of her videos. She was one of the first YouTubers, and she became a vlogging style.
Okay.
So since 2008, she got married. She had kids. She had this and that. And she always made Seattle look so cool. Like, for me, I was just like, man, I love Seattle. And whenever Jacob and I, we were planning on a trip, I was just like, ooh, where should we go? And we were just looking up flights, and we're like, let's go to Seattle. And it was on my to do. And I said, I really want to know where so-and-so lives.
Okay.
And so
so you looked her up?
I looked her up.
And you went by her house?
And I found her address.
You didn't egg her house, did you?
No, I didn't egg her house.
Okay.
But I found her address. And then...
Stalker.
And I drove by her house.
You drove by her house? Oh, my God.
I know.
You know, these people deserve privacy.
I know they do. But I was just like, again, I went in 2021. When did I go? 2021? 2021. Which was last year, yes. So I went in 2021. I've been following you 2008. I feel like I'm part of the family. Like, I really love you, you know. And so, yeah, I went by her house.
Okay. Well, I hope she doesn't hear that story.
Yes, I hope so.
But Seattle, back to Seattle. Yeah. I mean, I've always wanted to go, but I wanted to go because of my rock and roll roots, my rock and roll reasons, because the Seattle sound, grunge music came from there.
I actually went to the Museum of Pop when I was in Seattle, and so they had a whole section on Pearl Jam. They had Jimi Hendrix guitar. Yeah. They had all of that. It was awesome. So
the rock part of me, rock and roll side of me, that's a thing that I've always wanted to visit and see, because that was probably one of the last huge big movements that the musicians had, where the record industry was beholden to the musicians rather than the other way around.
Yeah.
Because a different, right now the record industry has a huge hold on certain things. Obviously, through YouTube and through all these other things, musicians are getting out, and through putting their music up by themselves on SoundClouds and all that. Mm-hmm. But the music industry itself, like the corporations, they're really clamping down on what they want to put out. Back in the 80s, 60s, 70s, and all that, the music industry had a lot of control in it. But sometimes something would break out that they had to ride the wave, and the Seattle sound was one of them. That broke out in a big way, and before you know it, they had to ride the wave because these people were calling the shots. And when the musicians call the shots, I'm all on board.
Yeah.
When it's a musician calling the shots instead of the corporation, I'm in, because then you're getting music that's from a person, not from some corporation that crunched some numbers and figured out that this lyric was going to make them more money.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know exactly what was the story behind. Did you hear about the story behind Kesha and Sony?
Mm-mm.
So Kesha was really big during my high school time. So it had to be like 2013, 2010, I would definitely. And she had the song TikTok on the clock, whatever.
Yeah.
And so she had that one big hit, but then she wanted to do her own things. And Sony basically tortured her or something like that. Like they would not let her leave contracts. She wanted to create on her own because they needed her to create just what they wanted to. And it's not, I don't know. It's just a lot of craziness.
A lot of those contracts, corporations, the music industry, they really like owning you, owning your image, owning what you do. And if you go against them, they're gonna make you pay for it. And so that's all this new stuff that's going on with social media, YouTube, Facebook, and getting stuff out there through whatever means you can. It's helpful. Unfortunately, it
saturates. It's too much.
There's so much going on. It's saturated. It's kind of hard to break through it. So that's the unfortunate part. But at least you're not tied to a corporation.
Yeah, I will say that. And we were talking about social media and TikTok. So another thing that is happening right now, that's how artists are being discovered. But with everybody's putting their stuff out there, SoundCloud, let's say Post Malone. Post Malone was discovered on SoundCloud because he put his stuff out there and somehow people found it and they liked it, and that's what happened. So he's one of the few people that have stuck out. But now people post their songs on TikTok in the hopes of they become viral, and they become viral, but only for a week or something, and then next
and move on.
And so it really puts it in perspective. You're 5 seconds of fame. That is it.
Yeah.
So it won't get
It used to be 15 minutes of fame, and now it's 5 seconds of fame.
What have you seen with people's attention spans?
I know. That's what I'm saying. That
yeah.
That's one of the disadvantages of social media. Is there's so much coming at you, you're just moving on to the next thing right away.
Yeah.
One of the disadvantages.
Definitely.
But one of the advantages is you're putting out what you want to put out.
Exactly. You have freedom.
Yeah.
So
there's it come and go. But anyway, well, I guess we'll start wrapping up the podcast here.
Yes.
And
it was a good one.
Yeah, it was a really good one. I enjoyed it. Going back to Manuel Delgado, obviously an amazing person to talk to, an amazing person to get to know. Everybody, if you want to support him, go to his website, La Tradición.
La Tradición. And we'll link it as well in the description box.
Yeah.
So you can check out all of his awesome products and his website. And if you want to learn more about him and how to order from him, you can check it out there.
Yes, he's got great stuff. Great person to support.
Best customer service out there.
Yeah, awesome customer. Everybody I talk to says that about him. So we just finished episode 6.
Yes.
Episode 7 next week. We're going to be going to California now.
Yes, we're going to be going to California to visit
Mr. Jeff Nevin.
Mr. Jeff Nevin. Yes.
Mr. Jeff Nevin. So he's a legend in the mariachi community. He's written several curriculum books and all that. Smart. But he's one of those that started off as a classical trumpet player, and then he slowly moved into mariachi. And what was awesome about him is he brought a bunch of skills that he had as a classical trumpet player and composer, brought him into mariachi, and was able to make a name for himself that way, where all the mariachis were looking for him. He's not Hispanic, but all the big mariachis are looking for him to help him to write stuff for them and all that. So he found a niche for himself in this genre. So it's going to be neat to learn more about that and to talk to him about that.
Of course. And like I said, we had such a great time. We're looking forward to next week, and I hope you are too.
Yes.
And with that being said, we'll see you next time.
Bye, everybody.